Welcome back. Rob Port in for Mike Capel. 701-293-9000. You want to join the program? 888-970-9329. Okay, we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about this controversy surrounding Fargo schools not allowing pro-life groups in the schools. On with me is Jocelyn Floyd. She is the Associate Counsel for the Thomas More Society. Jocelyn, thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Also, Kristan Hawkins. She is the President of Students for Life of America. Kristan, thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me today.
Kristan, I'm going to focus on you first because I understand you have to go after our first segment, and we can maybe get with Jocelyn about some of the legal niceties. But first of all, tell me what happened. Set this up for us. Give us the series of events that led up to this.
Sure. Well, Students for Life, we're a national organization. We're on over 838 campuses across the country, high school, college, and medical schools. So what we do for a living is we go into schools, we empower and train these pro-life students, and then they start pro-life groups on their campuses. And the goal of these groups are to educate women and men about life issues, about abortion, and offer resources and hope to women facing unplanned crisis pregnancies. Now, we have groups in over 300 high schools across the country. So we've been working with Katie McPherson over at Davies and then Bridget O'Keefe at Fargo North to start pro-life, Students for Life groups in their public high schools, which we know we have a constitutional right to be in. And at Davies, the actual controversy started back in September when Katie applied to start a group, and for months her application wasn't being approved. Something else had to go somewhere else. She couldn't get a room assigned for her new club to meet at. Bridget started the paperwork for her group this February, and she kind of went through the same process that Katie was going through, just delay. And even at Bridget's school, which I found so infuriating, was the school administrators actually put her and other club members through extensive questioning, even questioning about what their religious faith was and what their religious background was before they outright denied the club. And when the students went back to the administrations and said, "Why are you denying these pro-life groups? This has been, this has happened across the country in every state." The school administrators of both high schools went to the district and got a district ruling now, and Jocelyn will be able to talk more about this, that has banned any pro-life groups from being started in the public high schools in the district, saying that they're outside agencies, even though these are student-run and student-led pro-life groups. And there clearly are other groups on campus that aren't academically related. There's a Gay Straight Alliance group. There's a Christian fellowship group, a fellowship of Christian athletes. There's a chess club. So there's other groups that they're allowing to assemble, just not pro-life.
701-293-9000 if you want to join the program, 888-970-9329. Kristan, run us down for what exactly, how does this work? When the school, what your pro-life group, what are you asking for? Like in terms of, are you asking for meeting space on the schools, the school's recognition? What exactly is being requested of the school here?
Well, we want to be acknowledged at Davies and Fargo North as official groups, just like the chess club, just like the Gay Straight Alliance. And that means that the Students for Life group can be called Davies Students for Life or Fargo North Students for Life, just like any of these other groups. That means that the groups can meet on campus like other groups do. That means they can hold events on campus like other groups do. Just they want to have the same treatment as everybody else. So what we've asked the district to do in this letter that the Thomas More Society wrote for us is to reverse their decision and just give the pro-life students the same rights as everyone else.
Jocelyn, run us through the legal niceties here. You're saying you have a right to do this. Is this something that has been fought in other states? What has been the outcome in other states with this? I'm assuming this has happened before somewhere else. What has been the outcome there?
Yeah, the legal basis for this is obviously there's the First Amendment, but in addition to that, we have a federal statute called the Equal Access Act. And what that says is every single public high school that accepts any federal funds that has any, the term is non-curricular clubs, are required to allow all non-curricular clubs equal access to the school's forum of student clubs. And this has been litigated across the country because schools often will try and prevent certain clubs, either outright prevent them or give them second-class status because the message that the club wants to portray is quote-unquote controversial, or it might offend someone, or as happened in this one, the school was very adamant that they don't want to appear to be taking a stance on the issue of abortion. The United States Supreme Court has said that high school students are smart enough to recognize the difference between school-organized, teacher-led groups and student-initiated, student-led groups. And they know the difference between the speech that the school actually endorses versus the speech that the school simply permits. So these excuses that the school offers here and across the country from administrators on a fairly constant basis are ones that have no basis in law. They can't refuse to recognize a club because the message is controversial. They can't refuse because the message might offend somebody. The only standard that they can use in those terms is one that was developed in the First Amendment law in high schools that says because of the educational mission of the school, a school is allowed to limit certain speech where the speech is going to cause a substantial disruption that materially interferes with this educational environment. But they can't just say it's controversial, therefore it will be disruptive. They have to actually point to specific things about the issue, about the students, about the history of their school to say we can predict this will cause a substantial disruption and this is what it will look like. Here, the school has done none of that. They've simply rested on controversial and we don't want to take a stance.
701-293-9000, 888-970-9329. Kristan, I have a question for you.
Yes.
What if Planned Parenthood or some other organization like that wanted to set up a pro-choice group in these schools in the same fashion that you want to establish your pro-life group? Obviously, you don't support their position on the issue, but would you support their right to create that sort of a group?
Exactly, I would, and I have done that publicly before. When I was actually in college, I helped a pro-choice group get started on campus after they tried to unfairly deny them after they denied me, because it's about being fair and it's about having our opinions heard and helping women. For us in the pro-life movement, having a pro-choice group on campus is actually helpful because it shows students that there's two opinions on this and we can actually define what's going on in the abortion and educate students, and we're not afraid of that truth.
Jocelyn, I think a lot of people, when they hear an issue like this, you've already addressed this, that the courts have established that these groups cannot be distracting from the core academic mission of the schools. But I think even that aside, I think the general public hears this a lot of times and they think this is a distraction. Keep this debate out of the school. Let's let the kids just focus on education. What's your response to that?
Well, my response is that all of these extracurricular activities are part of the student's education. When we talk about the value of free speech in our society, we talk about the marketplace of ideas. And just like the marketplace when it comes to products that you buy, the more competition there is among ideas, the more refined the ideas become, and the better everyone is equipped to determine where the truth is and develop both their understanding and their ability to articulate the ideas. So when you look at these issues that are absolutely pertinent, absolutely vital to these students' generation, but also our entire society, our entire realm of politics, it's important that these students, as they are developing in the high school years to become well-educated, well-informed adults, that they have the ability to become educated, to become informed on these issues that matter to them and to everybody in their society and their culture. So when they allow students to do these organizations, it only serves to support the educational mission of the school that these students are investigating and learning and becoming active in their community, in their political realm. And that's not a distraction. That's part of why we educate students.
Kristan, I got a reaction from Will on Twitter. He says, you don't have choices in high school. It's a public institution. Go to college. That's where you make life choices. What's your response to that?
That's simply not true. Abortions are being committed on high school girls every single day. We have public high schools across the country where Planned Parenthood actually comes and picks up the girls from the high school without her parents knowing, takes her to have an abortion, and brings her back to school without her parents ever being informed.
Do you have a caller?
Happening in high schools. This is where you need to talk about these issues. You can't simply cover it up because, look, we know it. No one wants to talk about abortion. It's an icky subject. It makes us all feel uncomfortable and weird. But it's something that's happening to women. And these girls need to be educated, and they need to know there's another option out there, and there's a group of students who will love and support them through this crisis.
Quickly, I want to sneak in Jim from Fargo, then we got to go to a break. Jim, what's on your mind?
Yeah, hi. My question is this. Do any of the Fargo schools have gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual clubs or support groups located on campuses?
Yes, they do.
Okay, so that's allowed, but that controversial political, I don't know what you'd call it, agenda or movement is allowed on our campuses, but something that for pro-life isn't?
That's exactly what we're pointing out in this issue with the school. When the students brought that up with their administrators, the administrators said, well, those groups are protected by law. And our point is, so are these. Pro-life groups have the exact same protections under the law to get their message out to their peers as any of these other groups.
They should. They're American citizens.
And it shows the irrationality of the position that they're basing this on controversy, because regardless of where you stand on the issue, everybody knows that the various homosexual rights are highly controversial in our society right now. But that doesn't mean that we shut up everybody that wants to talk about them. That means that we give a safe environment for them to explore the message, give their message out, and develop their thinking and understanding on it.
Thank you for the call, Jim. I got to go to a break. Sorry to cut you off. Kristan, I understand you need to get going.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm going to let Kristan. Jocelyn, can you hold through the break? And I wanted to ask some questions about what comes next in this process.
Absolutely.
All right. Jocelyn's going to stay with us. Kristan, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. I'm Rob Port in for Mike Capel. 701-293-9000, 888-970-9329. If you want to join the discussion, we'll be right back. Don't go away. Welcome back. Rob Port in for Mike Capel this morning. 701-293-9000, 888-970-9329. If you got questions for the folks who are pushing back at a decision by two Fargo Public Schools to disallow pro-life groups on campus, now's the time. I have on with me Jocelyn Floyd. She is Associate Counsel for the Thomas More Society. Kristan Hawkins, the President of Students for Life of America, which was the group sort of backing the creation of this group. She had to go on, but Jocelyn is still with us. And Jocelyn, I really appreciate you taking time. People who want to join the program, once again, 701-293-9000, 888-970-9329. So what comes next, Jocelyn? Walk us through how this process may unfold.
Well, what has happened at this point is the schools rejected the students' applications and then punted the question up to the district. So then the district, in reevaluating, made their decision, and they decided to label the clubs outside agencies. And the support they offered for that is their policy of solicitation by outside agencies that starts out saying students will not be exploited for the purpose of advertising or promoting private business. And the whole point of this policy is to limit basically the spam that comes into school where businesses want to advertise to these students to get them to get credit cards, to get them to get cars, who knows what. It was never designed to apply to student speech, and so it's
just for a moment on that point. I just want to ask a question. Under that, where they're saying you're an outside agency, would that have allowed access under that provision to the pro-life clubs?
No, because what they did is they said that we will allow you as an outside agency to have meetings. Period. End of story. That's it. You can't do announcements. You can't put posters up. You can't actually hold events. Everything that you do beyond the bare bones meeting has to be off campus. Also, at least one of the schools limited the number of meetings that the students would be allowed to have, which doesn't apply to the rest of the clubs. So they've misinterpreted, misapplied, twisted this policy to apply it to student speech when it was never designed for that. And then that also, as we discussed earlier, violates the First Amendment and Equal Access Act protections that say all the student clubs should be treated equally. So at this point,
previously, just to clarify, previously we had mentioned a gay straight alliance club that was on campus. What is their status? Do they have status as an outside agency, or do they have status as you're seeking for the pro-life groups?
It is our understanding that they have complete official status. They are considered a school club.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was clear. So what happens next? You've sent a demand letter for them to reconsider. If they refuse, what happens next?
Well, the purpose of a demand letter in this type of context is to explain to the school what the law is, how it applies to this situation, and just really educate them on why their decision violates the law so that they have an opportunity to fix it without the need for getting court intervention or anyone else into the issue. So our ideal resolution is always that the school will, review this, investigate the law, determine where they went wrong, and fix the policy. Approve the club, let them be official, let them do all their activities, same as other clubs. If the school doesn't do that, then we always have the option of bringing it to the court system. And we are really confident that based on the law here and based on the facts of this particular situation, we have a really strong case, and we believe that the court would agree with us on what is required for the school to do.
701-293-9000, 888-970-9329. Your last chance to get in with any questions for Jocelyn Floyd. She is Associate Counsel for the Thomas More Society. You can also tweet me at Rob Port if you want to join in. Do we have a call coming in? Oh, no, we don't. Okay, sorry about that. Jocelyn, so basically, though, is this going to end up in the courts? I mean, I know that's not where you would prefer to just get status for this group, but is this going to go to the courts? Is this going to end up as a lawsuit?
We can't predict that. I mean, it's totally dependent on the school district's response. So we always hope to resolve this without needing to go to the court. But at the same time, if we can't resolve it, then that's what the court system is there for.
All right. Well, Jocelyn, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you coming on to explain this to us.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Jocelyn Floyd. She's Associate Counsel for the Thomas More Society, hoping that they can get the same status as other groups on the on the school grounds for pro-life clubs. They don't want to go to a lawsuit. I don't think anybody wants to go to a lawsuit. Anyway, more to come straight ahead. Rob Port in for Mike Capel, 701-293-9000, 888-970-9329. We'll be back. Don't go away.